What's going on, guys? Nate Banks here. This is gonna be kind of our first dip in the pool of making SF6 training content. And the title, it's a little clickbaity, but I think it's true. It's gonna be how we can get your Marisa to legend rank with the use of just one move. But what made me go from what I think to like a 1600 MR player, 1700 MR player to a legend rank is really developing a consistent game plan. And like the title of the video said, it's all around one move. And it's the move that makes Marisa. It's her Gladius. This is her. I bet I could win entire games with literally just Gladius because of everything that it does. It is ridiculous for a variety of reasons, and we're gonna get into those right now. So let's talk about what this move actually does. It's like a big punch. There's 3 versions of it: her light, her medium, and her hard. So what differentiates these is, of course, the startup. Light's the fastest, heavy is the slowest, but also the range. Like, as you can see, something like this is like Gladius with whiff here. Heavy's gonna clip them, right? So it goes just a little bit farther, puts them in block stun. If we set him to block, puts them in block stun, just there, yeah. Just a little bit further out. So they all have their uses. But this move, part of why it's so powerful, essentially the main reason why it's so powerful, is it has upper body armor. So if we just set Luke here, we're gonna record him in slot 8 to kind of walk around and hit that. He's gonna walk around like that, or like walk around and do that. Okay. And there was a whiff punish on it. So you have a chance to absorb, you have a chance for them to walk into it, and you have a chance to just straight up eat the normal like that and get a big punish. But I want to talk about very briefly what Gladius does lose to. So it is not throw invincible. So obviously it's not throw invul. It will lose throw every single time. It will also lose to lows. So if Luke does a basic low, it's gonna, like I'm gonna eat shit every single time on this Gladius. So often when an opponent sees you really using Gladius, they're gonna try to go for lows. What's interesting about this is that you might think a low in this game means anything that literally hits you low. So anything that I can't block standing, essentially. That's actually not the case. There's a lot of moves in this game that don't hit you low, but will have a hitbox close enough to Marisa's feet that it counts it as breaking Gladius armor, or hitting low enough to break Gladius armor. So you're gonna see, oh, I was a little too far. It's gonna beat me every single time. Oh, that time it won. But it's very dangerous to use, because the pluser it is, the higher chance it has of hitting you lower. So if you do get hit by it, you're in like a really bad spot. She's gonna be able to get a big conversion, and you're toast. Yeah. This move is not a low attack. It is Marisa's blocking high right now. Gonna beat Gladius every single time. So just something to keep in mind, that a lot of the cast does have tools that, even though they aren't technically considered lows, they can also break Gladius armor. So as we mentioned before, Gladius covers a great deal of the screen. The mental stack is really high in Street Fighter 6, whether you're worried about, dash up drive rush, some random neutral like a Dragon Lash or Marisa's Superman punch, a jump in. There is constant, a DI I forgot about. There is literally so much to be looking for at all times in this game. So often, when someone sees Gladius, they have to do something about it, because every time it hits them and they block, they're eating about half a drive bar. So their options are, they're either going to parry, or they're going to walk back. This is one's more likely. They're going to walk back to try to set up a whiff punish. There you go. Okay, we got one more. There you go. So a large portion of the mental stack is going to go towards your opponent trying to whiff punish Gladius, because they're trying to find a way around this really powerful tool. So what we're trying to do is use Marisa's strengths to get you where you want to be, which in every single matchup is you want to get your opponent to the corner. Because once Marisa gets you in the corner, it's more or less GG's. So if you notice, you have to pay attention. You want to start almost every single round by establishing that Gladius. Dance around, throw it out in neutral, and just see what your opponent does. Force a response from your opponent. And once you notice what that is, you're going to start exploiting it right away. So let's say you notice your opponent wants to set up the whiff punish, so their response is to just dance around and then slowly kind of walk back and wait for Gladius, so they can whiff punish it once they see it whiff. And if you notice your opponent doing that, just kind of waiting, see, he wants him, he's dying for me to whiff Gladius here so we can do standing hard punch. Just kind of slowly move up. Just kind of go into this range. Maybe throw out a crouching medium kick. Flip him low if he wants to keep walking back. Maybe, maybe if Mans wants to keep walking back, you can do that, which leads into fantastic Oki. Some of the best Oki in the game, I would say, off that light punch ender. And even bigger than, drive rushing or getting an occasional crouching medium kick damage, even bigger than that is look where your opponent's going. And you're not doing any, you are literally just walking, and because of the fear of Gladius, you're getting them to go to the corner. And then eventually, they're in the corner, they're gonna make a mistake, they will get messed up. If you notice that they're just looking to clip you low, you can do a few things. You can throw this out a little willy-nilly, because this will be, if I'm timing it a little bit better, this will be crouching medium kick every single time. You'll get a punish counter, and they fucking fly when you punish counter them with that shit, dude. If you just hit one of these, this moves +2. You can usually DI if someone DIs you with more than enough time. And if, that one didn't punish me. And look at how close to it, he back rolled, and he's pretty much in the corner already, just off that one move. So that's actually a pretty good option to deal with lows. You can also set up for a whiff punish. Marisa's a tank. She literally just needs one hit, and she can potentially GG's you. So if you're feeling really confident about your reactions, you're playing your opponent a little farther away, you can try clipping them with this. This is going to be the best reward. Lead into something, like that. Or you can, if you want like max damage here, you can do something like this. When you start walking forward, this is with any character, but I think it's especially with Marisa. When you start walking forward with Marisa, when you get about this range, your opponent essentially has to respond with something. They do not want Marisa getting any closer. They're rather gonna jump in to try and catch a leggy button, and I get cooked. Or, actually recovered in time for that one. And I get cooked. Or, how many different ways can and I get cooked. So, you can approach, and just like we did, we talked about earlier, right? They think, oh, he's going to approach with crouching medium kick again. Let's try that one more time. And I get absolutely demolished for it. Or your opponent might also say, uh-oh, he's coming, and they're going to stick out a poke, right? For Luke, it's probably going to be realistically his crouching medium kick. He's really scared that you're approaching him, and he's going to crouch a medium kick. And that leads into, I shouldn't have to tell you what that leads into. It leads into the drive rush, into the knuckle, into the setup, into level 3 sometimes. You do not want to be getting hit by that low. So, you really want to see what your opponent's doing, because based on all of the things I just mentioned, Marisa has options, and I think she has really, really good ones. So, we talked about how if your opponent is just walking back and trying to set up a whiff punish on Gladius, you can kind of just walk them down. If they're trying to stop your movement with pokes, do your best to situate yourself in about this range and set up that, get there, realize what's going on, and then set up the whiff punish. Into GG's. You know, sometimes you're playing at such a tight range, you still get clipped. I still think playing comfortably in the pocket and trying to play at this range well is extremely important to success with Marisa. And there's a reason I had the dummy set on Luke specifically. Because Luke has the best jump in the game. I don't think anyone would argue with that. His standing hard punch is definitely the best jump in the game. Marisa, I see so many Marisa players. They do this. They crouching hard punch to anti-air. So to deal with that third option that we talked about, if your opponent you know, thinks you're gonna approach and hit a leggy button, Mans is gonna do that every single time. And this is strong, because I hate to break it to you, this shit's not gonna work every time. If you're trying to focus, I think I have 1, 2, 3, and 4 on. If you're trying to focus on whiff punishing, on walking your opponent down, on anti-airing, it's gonna come really unreliable a lot of the time. And it can just prove to be, like, it just got absolutely stuffed there. It can just prove to be very inconsistent if you don't hit it fast enough. And, you know, you don't, like, in this game, you don't want to be... you want to make sure your anti-airs work, because if you get hit with a jump in, it can ruin your entire day, you know? So, as against those deeper jump-ins especially, I think you should just always do this for any jump that isn't a cross-up. But against Ken and Luke with their jumping hard punches specifically, Gladius is even a factor. So I'm just setting the bot to do a variety of options here, and I'm trying to anti-air him with what I believe is the most consistent option. And that's charged light punch Gladius right there. 1440 damage for the punish counter every single time. So for starters, just vastly superior to... What does this do? Walk into it, son of a bitch. 900. You're doing almost 540 more damage. Significantly more damage. Where you going? It's very, very strong, and it's always going to punish those deeper jump-ins. And I honestly think the Oki is quite damn strong in this position, too. Because Marisa has the drive rush standing hard punch from the heavens. Jump, coward. You're right in his face, and now you're +1, and if it hits, if they're trying to mash or get away from you after that knockdown, you're +7, you can combo into the medium punch TC, into 1,000,000 damage, into ruining their day. Essentially, all through the fear of Gladius, you can lock your opponent into this position as you're walking them down, and then they're gonna have to play you at about this range right here. Maybe you're gonna walk up and crouching medium kick them, try to force them into the corner, and then ideally you wouldn't perfect parry there. Ideally you'd anti-air Gladius, but you're using the fear of Gladius to force them into your game plan, so you can do that. And then honestly, like, all it takes is one thing with Marisa, and they're toast, you know? Another important element of Gladius that I want to focus on is how it can be used to manage your opponent's drive bar. One Gladius on block is always going to do half a drive bar. If you cancel that from Marisa's strongest normal, you can do a full bar of damage just from one very simple block string. And here's the absolutely insane part when Gladius is canceled from this normal specifically. This is a block string. They can't even parry in between it. There's absolutely nothing they can do to avoid eating that drive bar damage after they block the forward roundhouse. So obviously, this is a high startup normal. It's 14 frames. You don't want to just be throwing this out in neutral. There are a multitude of practical applications for it. For starters, you can just find them in the neutral if you think they're not doing much. If you get close about this range and they're low on drive bar, just throw that shit out. Also, as Oki, let's say you knock them down. This is going to be best off Quadriga kick because there's no drive rush necessary. So, block all. You can get that every single time. They block after the first attack. And there's another bar of drive damage gone. But the strongest use of this strategy is without a doubt in the corner. Once you get your opponent in the corner, it can be off literally any ender. Like, let's even say I grab them here. This becomes a just constant threat, and they're trying to avoid that, and you're just absolutely going to be doing massive damage to their drive bar. And then you knock them. It's exceedingly easy to get burnt out by Marisa once she has you in the corner, and once you burn them out in the corner, I mean, again, we're just trying to get... SF6 has really established itself as a game of checkmates, so we're trying... The goal every single round is to get our opponent to that checkmate scenario, and this makes that dramatically easier. I also want to discuss Charged Gladius and its function. So, not only does it do more damage, it also goes quite a bit further. This is light here, as you can see, it's whipping every single time, but if I charge it, it's gonna absolutely clip Luke. Same thing for all the other Gladiuses, and the absolute furthest one, I think, is heavy. Like, even from... Yeah, tremendously far. I think block has it even farther, especially if they're crouching. And all things considered, it's pretty darn fast, 41 frames. That's the heavy version. Light's 30. This move is plus on block as well when it's charged. The downside to it is that obviously if it whiffs, it's going to be exceedingly whiff punishable. The recovery is really, really massive on it. So you want to make sure that if you're throwing this out, your opponent can't whiff punish it. Because once you have them in the corner, their options are extremely limited. Especially if you space yourself out where a low won't reach you. So let's just have Luke here. Let's just record him to, record him just crouching here. He's gonna beat Gladius every single time if he's doing this. So it's gonna sort of, you know, make me think, oh, I better not use Gladius in the corner. What you want to do is space yourself just outside of it, and you're gonna absolutely demolish it every single time. I mean, you usually don't trade that often. This is just kind of a lucky example. 4,000. So just once you have them in the corner, just space yourself sort of just outside that light range and charge Gladius. It's also so fast, unless they already have the read on the jump, they're really not gonna be able to react and charge Gladius in time. So the safest place to do it from is where if they are blocking in the corner, they're going to eat the blocks in on this, and if they throw it a lower normal, try and beat your Gladius, they're going to get demolished. So in the corner, feel free to charge Gladius. You know, your mileage may vary. Try to use it intelligently, and I think you can really, really do some damage with it. There's one more thing that I forgot that makes Gladius really, really strong. Gladius can also be used as a wake-up tool. The EX version actually has frame 1 armor against anything upper body. And I think light starts, looks like maybe frame 4, if I'm reading the calculator correctly. So in a lot of matchups, I'll show you a really common example. You can perfect parry this. Eventually. Where's the side rush? Oh, I reversal that time. Maybe I didn't get the reversal. There we go. And you even get a charge back fierce there, so you do get a big punish if you perfect parry it. But a much more consistent option, if you just see them continuing to go for that, just do this. You can Gladius this every single time. I don't even think it has to be EX. Oh, it does have to be EX. I lied. It has to be EX. And she eats a shit. She eats 2,000 damage for that. And it gets even worse. Good games. Like, literally, they're in the corner and over half their life is absolutely good games. And you can do this against a lot of characters. Abuse that upper body armor. If you see your opponent, you know, DJ, Jury, Cammy, Marisa, Zangief, they all have a lot of moves that they can just drive rush with on Oki that are plus on block. I'm sure I'm forgetting a lot of cast members too. So sometimes if you see them abusing those options that are hitting Marisa on her upper body, just throw out an EX Gladius on Wake Up. And it's a relatively safe option. It's not like when Ryu does an EX DP or when Ken does an EX DP where you eat a bazillion crush counter damage if you're wrong. That move is, I think the EX one's literally safe and it only loses to throws. So, and lows, obviously. So not a bad idea to throw out to make your Gladius arsenal even more verbose, you know? Just one more tool that you have that makes you even scarier. So guys, that is how, no clickbait, you can use one move to get you to Legend rank with Marisa in Street Fighter 6. I hope you enjoyed our first little dip into educational content. I'm Nate, thanks. And don't forget to subscribe.